Lindsey Graham has decided to propose a federal abortion ban, an abortion ban that would prevent women from being able to get an abortion past 15 weeks. Now, the proposal is slim on details because there's a lot we don't know about how this proposal would work should it ever pass into law. But here's what we do know about it. As I mentioned, it would ban abortions past 15 weeks federally. So if, let's say, a state like California has legalized abortion, well, the federal law would supersede the state law, and that would be a disaster. Now, here's what else we don't know, actually. We don't know whether this would nullify state laws in red states like Texas that have even more restrictive abortion bans in place. That's unclear. And we also don't know if his proposal is ever going to make any exceptions for women who might die as a result of a pregnancy that has complications or in cases of rape or incest. But it doesn't seem like he has spent any time really thinking about this. It seems to be a political stunt, which doesn't seem to make much sense considering you literally have Republican candidates backing off of their anti-abortion stances because they realized, oh, my polling isn't good. There's a lot of backlash in response to the reversal of Roe. And by the way, Mitch McConnell has already stated in response to Lindsey Graham's proposal that he will not do away with the Senate filibuster to get this type of bill passed. Now, previously, I should note that Lindsey Graham seemed to think that abortion was a states' rights issue. But today he made it abundantly clear that he doesn't actually think that. And I wanted to give you this next video to kind of juxtapose what a disgusting, filthy liar he happens to be.
I think states should decide the issue of marriage and states should decide the issue of abortion. I think we should have a law at the federal level that would say after 15 weeks, no abortion on demand.
So the second half of that video was from his press conference announcing this proposal today. And luckily, there were some reporters there who dared to ask decent questions, including one reporter who's like, yo, what's up with this 180 on the whole states' rights issue? Let's watch.
You stated that the repeal of Roe v. Wade would mean that every state will decide if abortion is legal and on what terms. And you said that that was the most constitutionally sound way of dealing with the issue. And here you are introducing a nationwide 15-week limit. I'm wondering how you square those two statements.
Pretty easy. After they introduced the bill to define who they are, I thought it'd be nice to introduce a bill to define who we are. So the Democrats wanted a national standard. And their standard was basically abortion up to the time of birth, putting you in the Iran-Syria club. So now we're going to talk about what the nation should be like.
Just total brainworms. I mean, Lindsey Graham, who hasn't met a war he didn't love, can't help but somehow tie the abortion debate to Syria and Iran. But more importantly, no, Lindsey, we know who you are. You're a groveling, pathetic, weak politician who sucks up to anyone, including politicians you used to criticize like Donald Trump, if it means that it will help your political career. That's what a little bitch does, not what a leader does. So we know what you are, Lindsey Graham. And by the way, keep pushing for this because it is not popular. And I'll give you those numbers in just a moment. But Cenk, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, so I kind of love this because every poll is showing that they're, and by the way, elections that have actually happened are showing that they're getting killed on this, the Republicans are. And it is largely because women are rising up and saying, no, I'm going to vote against you because you're taking my freedom away and you're trying to control my body. And I vote hell no, right? I couldn't love it anymore. So, but even the Republicans realize this. So today they were panicking about why the hell's Lindsey Graham doing this? By the way, fun side theory, maybe he's trying to throw the elections. I don't know, okay? But then he wouldn't get as much war, so that doesn't make too much sense.
I have a side theory that I'll share with you in just a moment. But
I love side theories, can't wait. But first, let me show you the Republican panic. Shelley Moore Capito is a Republican from West Virginia. She's the other Republican from West Virginia. Manchin actually called himself a Republican today. Anyway, He said, she said, I'm not sure what he's thinking here, referring to Lindsey Graham, but I don't think there'll be a rallying around that concept. I don't think there's much of an appetite to go in that direction. Isn't this funny, though? Let's just note, the Republicans, my whole life, like, we're pro-life, we're going to end abortion. The minute that it happens, and they can, the Supreme Court allows it, they'll go, no appetite for that. Oh, we're so full. Oh, we're so full on tax cuts for the rich, just don't have any room for abortion, which we pretended to be in favor of. See, corporate Republicans, like corporate Democrats, are pretending about their agenda. They've never meant any of it. It was always to get more tax cuts for rich and corporations. So, but more on the internal drama. Mitch McConnell, this is one of my favorite parts. The Guardian reports, says we have no intention of picking this up or introducing it right now before the elections. After the elections, we might. In other words, he's like, Lindsey, what are you doing? We don't talk about things that are popular with the American people before an election. All of our ideas are deeply unpopular. Afterwards, we foist it on them. Okay, so that's how it normally goes. And finally, Lindsey Graham earlier had a softer version of this bill, which was still a disaster. It would have ended all abortions after 20 weeks. It would have excluded rape and incest. This version is 15 weeks and does not exclude rape and incest. So he made it more radical, more extreme, and more unpopular. It is a weird thing to do for a guy who has been around politics for a couple of decades. So, Anna, what's your fun side theory?
Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to try to contextualize the argument I'm going to make so you understand my line of thinking here. So it is weird that he's doing this because Lindsey Graham only seems to care about Lindsey Graham. He cares about political power. He is willing to do everything, including get down on his knees and fillet Donald Trump in order to maintain political power. So I don't buy for a second that he's blind to the fact that polling suggests that most Americans, including Republican voters, do not like having rights taken away from them. In fact, let me give you one of those recent polls. And this is actually a more the polling here is actually lower than other polls that we've seen that show that, upward of 70% of Americans do not want to restrict abortion. But according to this Kaiser poll, 61%, that is the percentage of Americans who want states to guarantee access to abortion, according to a Kaiser Family Foundation poll last month. The poll also notes that 65% of Americans disapprove of the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade. So I give you that information to note that Lindsey Graham knows about this. He knows that there are GOP candidates that are now completely backing off of their anti-abortion stance because it's hurting them in their attempts to win elections. The whole filibuster thing from Manchin, where he's like, no, we're not going to scrap the filibuster to pass this bill, that gave me a little bit of a clue. I'm wondering if it's Republicans realizing that there is some possibility that Democrats not only hold on to the Senate after the midterms, but they could even gain a few seats, right? Especially when you're talking about some of the stronger candidates like Fetterman, for instance. I'm wondering if they're trying to send a message to Democrats, hey, when you guys actually have more of you in the Senate and you try to do away with the filibuster, understand what's at stake. Like, is that what they're trying to do here? Because otherwise it really makes no sense. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I'm going to vote no on your theory, although we did have fun with it. Because
and to be fair to me, I haven't been paying as close attention to the electoral politics as you have. So my theory on the Senate might be totally inaccurate.
No. That part I agree with. I think the Democrats have a pretty good chance of holding on to the Senate and maybe even picking up a couple of seats. It's just that I think the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams of the world are perfectly aware that the Democrats aren't going to get rid of the filibuster. By the way, McConnell says even to pass this, he's not going to get rid of the filibuster because they're on the same team. They're on the, on team donor. So the donors love the filibuster. The senators love the filibuster. It protects them from having to pass anything that is economically popular. So neither side wants to get rid of the filibuster to pass this. So I don't think that Lindsey Graham is goading or tempting or anything like that. It's possible, Anna, that the answer is much simpler. Occam's razor. He's just going to use it to fundraise, and he's a greasy politician, and it's very easy thing to fundraise off of, and he thinks he might make a lot of money.
Yeah, maybe. You might be right about that. But one other thing I wanted to just quickly go to, a video that I shared with the audience on a day when you were gone, Cenk, and it features a gubernatorial candidate in the state of Minnesota, who he's a Republican who had a very extreme anti-abortion stance, and then realized after the reversal of Roe, he saw a massive dip in the polling for his support, and decided to do a 180. So here is Scott Jensen, a Republican gubernatorial candidate in Minnesota, who went from being an anti-abortion extremist to putting out this political ad.
I've delivered 500 babies in my career. Abortion is divisive, and Tim Walz is weaponizing the issue. In Minnesota, it's a protected constitutional right, and no governor can change that. And I'm not running to do that. I'm running because we need safe streets, excellent schools, parental rights, and more money in the family budget. That's what I'll fight for. Let's focus on the issues that matter.
Should we focus on the issues that matter, Scott? Should we?
No, I mean, that was hilarious. That was one of the funniest ads I've ever seen. First of all, this is classic Republican. Classic, right? Like, I'm against abortion. Abortion's terrible. Oh, it's not polling well? Oh, little babies. I like little babies. Abortion, what's the big deal? Okay, come on. The way he's holding that baby. I mean, and look, it's funny, but let's also note that it's kind of sick to use a baby as a prop in your political ad. Especially when you're for taking away the rights of women, and then you're like pretending that you're some caregiver and that you've always cared about them. No, you were against them a second ago before you saw the polling. What a greasy politician. I'm surprised the baby didn't slide out of his hands.
Oh my God, I know, and using an infant like that as a prop for your political ad. I mean, you can expect anything from GOP candidates these days.